Newsarama.com. Boom! And I suggest you do as well. Hi.
Hey guys, I'm Jenna Bush.
I'm Rich Bonaducci.
And you are watching Newsarama's live coverage of New York Comic Con. Right behind us. We are here with Chris Claremont. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Was that really Johnny Depp?
No.
Oh.
No.
Dang it.
Totally fooled you.
Way too much. Thanks for coming. I know I had to kind of hound you to do it.
That's all right.
I'm glad. You know, actually, we wanted to hear because both Jen and I kind of started reading comics because of you.
It's true. I actually started with X-Men.
Well, I was just noticing the shirt.
There you go.
Oh, are you just pushing that forward?
Yes, yes.
All right.
If you want to do that, go ahead.
I'm not wearing the shirt.
No, I'm standing up for Arsenal, which is a totally different head.
Well, that's okay. It's all one big family here today.
No, this is football.
It's Sunday.
It's British.
Well, still.
No more sports.
No more sports.
No more. Oh my goodness.
Well, no, right now.
Not at Comic-Con.
Why not? It's nothing but sport.
It's a geek sport.
You can be a sports geek.
I don't know if it's entirely a geek sport. Mad, impetuous desire for wealth. I mean, that's, and power.
Okay, I can go with that.
That's a very Bloomberg thing.
Yeah, I actually saw someone dressed as a baseball player down there.
I thought you were going to say dressed as the mayor. That would make a lot of sense.
That would make a lot of sense, too. No, but my brother in 1980 handed me X-Men 131, and I've been hooked ever since on a lot of your stuff.
And I can think of a lot of great corporations that would thank you moderately for that.
Yes. In fact, I think it's
indulgence.
Interesting that some 20 years later, when they finally get around to making X-Men movies, it must be rewarding that they mine your material to a certain extent.
Well, among others, but yes.
Yeah. Do they even have to approach you and say, "Hey, we're thinking of using a generic Dark Phoenix line"?
Well, no. Oh, God, no. But the funny thing was that going back to the late 90s when Lawrence Schuler Donner and Marvel were first discussing the whole X-Men adaptation series of movies, and actually in the beginning I was editorial director at Marvel, so I was very much in the discussions. One of the things she's always wanted to present was the miniseries, the Wolverine miniseries done by Frank Miller and myself.
Right.
So we've all been waiting for that to come to pass. And I mean, her original desire was for that to be the first Wolverine movie, and Fox felt it would be more appropriate to go with an origin. So I, for one, was very excited when I read the screenplay. This is, mind you, back 10 months ago when Darren Aronofsky was going to direct it.
Right.
That would have been
Which would have been amazing.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Family issues. Come on.
Exotic locales. I'm sure we could have gotten some dancing in.
Oh, it's only good if it has
Wolverine
dancing.
on a ballet stage would have been very
Oh,
interesting.
no, it would have been wonderful. So
But no, I mean, it was the screenplay was a lot of fun, and I'll be interested to see how it evolves through to the finished product.
So does it involve that storyline, that Japan storyline?
Well, I mean,
well,
as of the version I read, as of the beginning of the year, it was very much a straight adaptation with wrinkles, but this is Hollywood. Everything tends to evolve as time goes on, and now I believe there's a completely new there is a new director, a new writer, a new this, a new that. Everyone who comes in, I think, has their own take, wants to put their own personal stamp on it. So, as I said, it'll be a fascinating thing to see how it evolves and what comes at the end. I have the highest of hopes. But on the other hand, I've also seen what
the first Wolverine.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of the Avengers, which looks, Joss. I've been a fan of Joss Whedon since he started Buffy.
All right.
And I sort of can't wait to see what he comes up with.
Would it drive you crazy if you do see this and it's evolved into something completely different, or can you just sort of put that aside?
I look on it from a purely pragmatic point of view. I look at Michael Fassbinder, I look at Ian McKellen, and I think, Stan created him, but that's my guy.
Right.
And quite frankly, as a young man, when in the Magneto stories I did with John Bolton, when he was younger, tracking down Nazis in South America, I was playing him as James Bond. So seeing Michael Fassbinder dressing as James Bond, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that looks familiar. So I'm torn. It's seeing Kevin Bacon playing one of my signature characters.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow, that puts me how many degrees from Kevin?
That's true. Yeah, you're in the whole game now.
I think that's one.
Excellent.
You win.
Excellent. But yeah, you'd even see a bit of like God Loves Man Kills in part of the first few X-Men.
Well, it was very much the essence of the second one. I would, as the author of the graphic novel, I feel like it would have been much more. I would have much preferred to have seen it as a standalone story. But on the other hand, it would have been a very different, very serious, I would like to think, important drama.
Yeah.
And perhaps that wasn't quite what the studio had in mind.
Well, we need to shift gears because you've shifted gears a little bit out of comics, and now you've got a novel.
Back to where I started.
Let's talk about your novel.
Well, it's a young adult suspense thriller about a young 16-year-old who comes to New York to meet her father for the first time. They've G-chatted for years, but her parents split up when she was a baby. Her mother took her back to England. Her father's been in New York, and she's coming to visit him. And in the chapter I've been giving away at Comic-Con, he isn't there at the airport to meet her at JFK, so she takes a cab to his office, and it's empty. And he's not. She has a key, but no one's there. But there's a cup of coffee on the desk. The coffee's hot. The bagel's fresh. Someone obviously just laid the table, but where's Dad?
He teleported.
Well, the interesting thing is she falls asleep. She wakes up in the middle of the night. Someone's pounding at the door. She goes to the door shatters, and the intruder drops dead on top of her. And from there on in, you hear the classic dum-dum. Dum-dum-dum. And this is Detective so-and-so and Detective so-and-so, and we're off to the races with the cops, with murderers, with intrigue, with chases throughout the city, and a mystery that has to be solved, and a climactic denouement in Brooklyn Botanical Gardens.
Oh, nice. So has this been picked up as a movie script already? Because young adults...
I would love to...
Sounds like what?
If you know anyone who's making an offer, I'm there. No, it's literally hot off the printer. I just sent it off to my agent a couple of weeks ago. Oh, actually a month ago. And gotten some very nice comments from authors that I respect in the professional field, which will attach to the trailer as we send it around to publishers. And from here on in, it's like any other author with a new book. You have to find a publisher that loves it and an accountancy department that's willing to part with some money. And oddly enough, it's a trilogy. So the 3 books are set in the summer. So the first one is the end of May, beginning of June. The second one will be the 4th of July. The third one will be the end of August and Labor Day. And the way the second one's evolving, it's going to be what happens out east.
And you don't have
North Fork meets South Fork. Waves crash on the shore. There's a hurricane or two. Could be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And you don't have to deal with all those pesky pictures. This is just words.
No, yeah, well, except 1,000 words to make a decent image.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the fun part is when you're working with an artist. It's like playing a duet. I mean, you're sitting up there, you're jamming. He's on bass, you're on the piano, or vice versa, or somebody's doing a drum kit. and you're bouncing the ball back and forth, mixing metaphors wildly, between my images and the penciler's images, and seeing what we can coalesce into a dynamic, coherent story. With a novel, it's just me sitting down at the keyboard, doing all the work, but bouncing from one side of my brain to the other. And as I write, I tend to look at it as a visual experience. So I'm watching the events unfold like a film in my head and writing them down. The fundamental difference between prose and film is that with prose you can internalize a lot of things. You can not only describe what's happening, but you can take, I thought, I felt, you're telling the reader all the things that the character is going through, and hopefully bonding them to her, him, them along the way.
Well, I know you've just come from a panel. We have to get you on the floor, but if anyone is interested, tell them how they can get a hold of your novel.
Well, at the moment, as soon as I actually have a site on
spreading germs.
Facebook, and as soon as it's got a home, we'll post it up there, and I'll bounce from convention to convention saying, "Hey, my book's coming out in 2.5 years from publisher blah blah," and go buy it.
So in other words, like you on Facebook and get the latest news about where to get the novel.
That's a place to start, definitely.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Look forward to reading the novel.
Well, hopefully next year I can be sitting here waving the cover.
Good deal.
Nice.
And saying, and this is what's coming up next.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
The pleasure was mine.
And thank you all for watching. Stay tuned to Newsarama's live coverage of New York Comic Con.